This is some news here. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN. The Eagles and Jim Leonard mutually decided not to move forward with his DC candidacy. In other words, defensive coordinator, per league sources. Leonard had planned to undergo hip surgery and sit out this year. But when the Eagles job opened, both sides had mutual interest in discussing the positions, which they did last week. Ultimately, he decided the timing for him personally wasn't right. So, get it. But guy's probably not feeling well. And
No, bro.
Or they didn't want him.
Right. You're not going to turn down a job from the league. You know, you're not going to turn down a job, especially with a team that's going to be competing the way the Eagles should compete next year.
Right.
You're not turning that down.
Either way, he's out.
Right.
Okay.
I thought he would have been a good hire for this defense. That man is very intelligent when it comes to defensive scheme. But the chat, since we've been talking, has been blowing up about you guys. Did you see Seth what he said on Dan Silio's show yesterday about how
he would accept? Yeah, he would accept a coaching job with them.
Yeah, as a DC or a linebacker coach, but only for the Eagles. And Barrett and I have talked about this extensively. I honestly believe there's no way the Eagles would hire him. I think the front office is afraid that he would be
too vocal, too hard on the players.
That's a nice way to put it. Too vocal.
Right. Well, you got to understand how Seth lives his life. It's either go hard or go home. He's either on or he's off. He's not one of those guys that like to tip his foot, tip his big toe in the short end, of the pool. If he's gonna he's gonna go out. He's gonna get his total body in the deep end. He's not gonna play around in the kiddie pool. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way it should be.
Yep.
But if you want somebody to give you some results, proven results, he'll stake his life on the results.
Yes, he will.
If you want that passion, you go get a Seth Joyner. Will it necessarily work with these new kids? He'll make it work.
Yeah.
But I don't think that. I think they like the culture that they have there, and they don't want that type of entity in their locker room. But I mean, I'm telling you, Seth would be a damn good coordinator. He would have a no nonsense type of, and even if he was a linebacker coach, he would make sure his position is the best position on the team.
Yep.
That's the way
he takes so much pride in it.
Yeah. So he would have them guys there early if it took them getting there early, late if it took them being there late. If it took them doing a little extra studying, he would have them guys doing it. These new age kids, I don't know if they'll be able to handle that type of mentoring, coaching, class and session all the time. You know what I'm saying?
I think it would drive him nuts because of the limitations you have on coaching now. You can only have them on the field for so much. You can't just have them like in Andy Reid's there. You can keep them out there for 12 hours. You can't do that anymore. They have a strict time frame in which you can use out.
See, like Robert said, what's wrong? There's nothing wrong with it. If you want to have the best position, he would make sure his linebackers would be the best position, or he would, he'd die trying. Put it like that. But they just don't. I don't think the NFL has room for guys like that anymore.
That's it. Show me all the outspoken coordinators and linebacker coaches in the game.
Where are they? Wink Martindale, Belichick. But you have to have a certain pedigree.
Yeah,
there's not many old school left.
Yeah,
but guys, old school guys like Wink Martindale, they can do that. But these guys nowadays,
it's different.
The Eagles organization, if you look at what they've hired, including Doug Peterson's coaching staff, they like to be able to come down and give suggestions.
Yep.
Can you imagine? Hold on.
You imagine this. Think about that, B.
Think about it. Part of the problem.
Think about this, B. Think about what I just said. This
is one of the reasons why I don't think Deuce is here anymore.
Thank you.
Right. But look, you're absolutely right with that. And to put things in perspective, I can see Howie coming downstairs and going into the locker. I mean, not the locker room, but going into the meeting room, and everybody else is gone out the building. Been gone for about an hour and a half, and he comes downstairs and looks and see the lights on in the linebacker room, and see all his linebackers in there like this. Help us. And stuff like, what you want, Howie? What you want?
Yeah.
Did you see the way we played?
Yeah.
Get on about here.
Let me put it in its proper perspective. You saw what happened when a guy named Chip Kelly was running the show, right?
Right.
He got my man jettisoned down the hallway. Okay?
That ain't
That's
happening
all you
again.
need. They ain't gonna happen again. They ain't
No.
gonna happen. You ain't gonna have that kind of. No,
And look, here's the thing too. And I love Seth, but you, as much as it may fly against your personality, you can't really be that guy now.
No.
Unless you're a head coach who's really had great accomplishment. You got to sort of just lay low.
The string you make great points. If you put Seth at the defensive coordinator position, you would have a really, really, really good defense.
Yeah.
Really good.
It's not a knock on Seth, but it's just a reality.
No. Seth would be a great teacher.
Yeah.
But let's look at what's that. Prime example, Robbie Anderson. He shuts down in Carolina. He shuts down to the point they kicked him off the field during the game and then traded him.
Yep.
Because he couldn't take getting yelled at.
Yep.
Right.
Think about how many of these young players can't take getting yelled. What? You can't. If there's one sport where one of the prerequisites is you're going to get yelled at, it's football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a lot of these kids can't handle that. You got to keep. Well, it's okay. You fumbled 6 times in a game last week, buddy. Just keep trying. Hang in there. You'll get it right before the season's over.
It is. And I don't think that. I think Seth's knowledge, passion would be a home run.
Absolutely.
I don't think he can scale himself back to be sort of, hey, go get him next time, buddy. Like,
I just said it on and off. It's either on or off. And the amount of information, the techniques, the know-how to play the game would be impeccable. He would have those guys at a point where they'd be reading stuff instantly, getting to the ball, doing all this stuff the right way. But it would take his coaching style to get it across, and they would get lost in the translation between him yelling and him, on the field and telling them this and telling them that and sitting them down, because he doesn't care about money either. If you can make the most money in that meeting room, he doesn't care. If a younger guy's playing better than him, he would play that younger guy, which would piss off the guys upstairs. But Seth is the type that his knowledge of the game is unbelievable. Like, I love to sit down when we were working together on pre and post game show. I love sitting down. Me and him will go back and forth as far as debates. I'm on the offensive side of the ball, him talking about defensive side of the ball, how they would counter and stuff like that. And we go through and watch the game. And he'd be like, "See, Barrett, I told you they're trying to do this." I say, "Yeah, but they're trying to do that." Say, "You're absolutely right, but this is why they did this." We go because we see the same game, but we see it in different eyes, and because of that, I picked up so much knowledge from a defensive standpoint.
Same here.
Between cover 2, 2-man. Tampa 2. I mean, the difference in all that stuff. And he knows the difference in all that stuff, but his message would get lost because those kids are too sensitive to really take what he's saying. They would take it too personal. You know what I'm saying? They'd be on social media. Hey, this coach here is nuts. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you would get reports. Joyner too difficult on the players, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
He would be a great coaching tool. He'd be a great guy to open up the streams of communication between the younger players and him. The communication would be open at first, and it would stay open on his end. He would keep that door open, but the same thing make you laugh, make you cry. They would shut down because they wouldn't be able to take and handle the truth.
Yeah,
a lot of these players need to be coddled. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, that's a good job, Johnny. Keep working hard and you'll get it. And he'd be like, hey, Johnny, you either get your ass over there and make the damn play.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Or you could be sitting here next to me.
But see, Dan Cilio just texted me. He said, you know what? If the Broncos hired Rex Ryan, they're hiring an old school guy, right? And Rex is going to go in there and he's going to use that old school approach. But maybe they have an ownership that will give you free reign to go in there and do what you have to do to make this thing right. I don't know if that Eagles front office wants that. They keep talking about culture, not just player culture, but coaches. Look at the type of coaches they've had. How many of them, I hate to say this because it's not fair in some ways, but all of the coaches they've hired for the most part comply with company guidelines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm not going to use the word yes man because that's not fair. But they comply. They engage with ownership. Howie is on the field all the time. Jeffrey's down on the field. They talk to the coaches. They make suggestions, little subtle hints, little things like that. You know, some coaching staffs don't want that. Hey man, you pay us to coach. You need to stay over here.
Yeah,
and let us do what we do. That's not the culture here.
Right.
Oh, look, Coach,
and whether you like it or not, they've had a lot of success that way.
Right. But look at, Coach. Look, Coach said remember when Seth took all of that heat when he was coaching high school? Came up from yelling at kids. Didn't go over well. Well, these are grown men, and it wouldn't go over well.
No. Yeah, grown men making 7 figures.
Right. And at the end of the day, Seth is my dude. I love Seth. Me and Seth, we go way back. You know what I'm saying? We played against each other. Seth, we worked with each other. He is the consummate pro. But the game, I think, has passed me and him by in trying to relate to the way players are these days. I think it's passed us by because that's why you see a lot of coaches. Like, look what went on at Villanova. One of the greatest coaches ever had to lead a game because of the new situation in basketball. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't fit to his coaching style. He was used to having guys stay there 3 years.
Yeah, Jay Wright. Yep.
Jay Wright, 3 years. You know what I'm saying? 3 years the minimum. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have a lot of the one and dones. Yeah. He would have guys that are 3 years minimum. And that coaching style and players want to be in that coaching style is gone. The what is it? Name, likeness, all that stuff there.
Name, image, and likeness. Yeah.
The NIL stuff is taking this to another level. Level. Yeah. I couldn't even get ramen noodles. I would have hamburger helper with no hamburger. You know what I'm saying? And these kids now getting $1 million off the jump. You know what I'm saying? Off the rip. I mean, isn't it what's his name? The Manning kid that's going to Texas.
Yeah. I haven't heard
$3.8 million or something.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He has an NIL deal worth $3.8 million.
Yeah, basically it has nothing to do anymore in recruiting with, oh, I love the school, or I like this system, or I like this coach. How much are you offering me?
Right.
All right. Well, you're Florida State's offering me this, or guess what? I'm going to Miami, or whatever. I mean, this is kind of where we're at now. It's just a different. Like, I know people are throwing like Vrabel. Yeah, there's a couple hard-nosed guys out there. There's a few of them. I'm not saying
he's learned. He's learned.
He scaled it way back.
There's
nobody like Buddy Ryan used to. Right. Even Rex with a blabbermouth he is. There are very few like Buddy anymore, if any. It's just different. It doesn't mean it's better. And I'm not saying like this is the way I prefer it. I liked it better when coaches had more hand and things, but they just don't anymore. It's the way it is.
I mean, coach would tell me jump. I wouldn't even say how high. I just started jumping, you know what I'm saying? Knowing that, what he wanted. Yep. And I was always under, the coaching premise that when a coach stopped yelling at you, that's when you got nervous.
Exactly. That's in any case. If you start getting ignored, that means they don't care. If they're on you, yeah. Like I would say, obviously, I coach kids basketball, but I say, listen, I'm not having this conversation with you. If I didn't care, if I don't think there's something there. Notice there may be another kid I'm not addressing this with. You know why? Because he either isn't getting it or ain't going to get it. So you better start getting it real soon. All right, so let's jump off and
hold on, man. This Mr. Rudy Poo. Y'all act like Seth is about to go Bill Parcells or Tom Coughlin. No, you're missing the total point of what we're saying. And I don't think we need to repeat ourselves in that regard. We're not saying that. We're just saying, how long could Seth handle being in that culture? That's all we're saying. His wealth of knowledge is impeccable. And like Barrett said, I got the chance to sit next to him and in green rooms with him for an entire season this past season. I've been covering this game over 40 years, and I still learn something from this man. Just listen to him talk about defensive concepts and positioning and gap control. Even when you think you know a lot. That's why I would say, if you know everything, you know what? You've stagnated your ability to learn. You never stop learning anything in life. You always learn. No, what we're saying is each team wants a certain culture. Okay. And if you look at the coaches, and that's not a knock against what they have, because they have been successful with their approach to this to a certain degree. It didn't go well after a few years with Doug. Okay. But if you have a culture where you like to have the ability to come down and make suggestions, you know what? Some organizations like that, Jerry Jones does and says what he's going to do is his toy. Other teams, they like to stay off the show. How often do you hear about Robert Kraft, doing this and doing that? He lets his coaches do what they do. It's worked well for him. Every team is different. We're not saying Seth can't do the job. I believe Seth could do the job. I believe Seth can get whoever they put on that field next season to play at a high level. But his approach might rub a few players wrong and, might make a few people nervous. That's all. That's all we're saying.
All right, let's get a timeout. Let's come back, and we will dive into Jalen Hurts' contract and what you would offer him. What, in comparison to what some of the other guys are making. We'll get into that when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group. Yes, knowing who to trust with your finances can be critical. And I tell you, personal experience, it took a while to find the right person. I finally did. And Jim is that right person, whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review. You might have a small business. You're looking at some help to get set up with new employee benefits. That's another resource that Jim can help you with. I know I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k roller with Jim, and I couldn't be any happier. You will be as well. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751, or you can email him, murray.jim@principal.com. That's Murray, Murray.jim@principal.com.